Hello everyone. I would like to welcome all to this project kickoff meeting. And for those who don't know me, I am Fani Teja and I'm going to be the project manager for this new supply development project. Let's start off with some of the agenda that we are going to talk about today. We're going to quickly go through the introduction and some background of the company, and we're going to quickly go through the company's revenue and how this project is really important. We have some project goals to talk about, some team structure, high level work breakdown structure. We do have some timeline for the project and project risks. We're going to talk about two kinds of project risks, that's at the business level and that's at one's at just the project level. And we're going to talk about next steps for this project, and I'll be open to questions at the end if you guys have any. So let's jump on to the introduction. As you all know, Velodyne LiDAR is leader in the LiDAR market. No doubt, period. We're moving fast through a period of intense fleet testing into initial ramp-ups for true autonomous scale, high volume production, both for the retail ADAS, advanced driver assistance system, as well as for on-demand mobility fleets, which is a whole it's a whole system of autonomous car which has all the software integrated to all the electronics, and the whole car is completely autonomous. So we started manufacturing LiDAR since 2007. It's almost been like 10 years, and past these 10 years there are more than 30 startup companies alone in this Bay Area, California. All these companies, along with some automotive chains like Ford, GM, integrated LiDAR sensors into the driver, self-driving development programs. And market analysts predict that autonomous industry is going to be a $1 trillion industry. And it's not a joke. $1 trillion industry is not a joke. And this increase the demand for LiDAR exponentially year by year, and it is expected to be like 50 times or more than 50 times in just no time. So not just the autonomous industry, there are different industries that have been using this LiDAR technology. Some of the industries are like, as you all know, are drone industry, truck industries, they're developing self-driving trucks too on the roads, and most importantly 3D mapping companies. They're trying to map the surroundings and give a new feature to the users by providing a 3D terrain, so that the users can have a different whole experience, right? So the future of the company is going to be vast, and to meet the demands we are trying to understand our current manufacturing strategies and what should be changed, and where we are going to be based on the forecast of the demand. So we have come up with increasing the capacity because it's going to be increased drastically, exponentially high, and we have to satisfy the customers by providing whatever or how many units they need, and also reduce the lead time, which is currently one of the drawbacks. We have to definitely reduce that. So let's talk about company revenue. Currently we manufacture like 3,000 sensors every quarter. We make like a 50 million turnover every quarter, and as I mentioned, we have a little bit of a backlog of 10% based on the current demand, but further we wanted to make 9,000 sensors based on the forecast model, and that would generate 150 million quarterly. And this new forecast, this 9,000 sensors per quarter, is based on the new developed capacity model, which has included a lot of details, and we're trying to really hit the number with no matter if we have any kind of issues on the line and all that stuff. So this model is more robust than the current one, right? So let's talk about some of the project goals for the current project. So the main goal of the project is to set up manufacturing lines and start production by August 2019 at our new supplier location. Right, so for that we have to estimate the number of manufacturing lines that we need based on the capacity model, and we need to set up the functional manufacturing lines at the supplier location, and we need to transfer all the knowledge that we have, train the engineers over there, train the operators over there, right? And we have to qualify them to make sure they meet our specs, criteria, and all that. And they need to start the production by August 2019, which is almost the end of Q3. Let's go to the team structure that we have. So Rickwell is going to be our acting COO, and he's also our project sponsor. Christian Reyes, who is going to be our director for this project, and Fani Teja, myself, I'm going to be acting as a project manager. And for the supply chain activities, we have Heidi Valles, who is going to be supporting us, and for mechanical designing part, estimating, coming up with the new designs, we have Shri, and we have Ricky Michael, who is going to be our manufacturer engineer, who is going to set up all the line, who's going to be a key member in setting up all the lines, providing training, documentation, and all that stuff to our supplier. So let's talk about the high-level work breakdown structure. As I mentioned before in the agenda, this is only going to be the high-level structure. There are a lot of details that go into this further when we go to the planning phase, right? So we have three main categories: planning, setup, and development. So in the planning, we're gonna, as I said, we're gonna sort out all the things that need to be planned, that need to be set up, that need to be bought, that need to be purchased, and we're gonna determine all the timelines for the important deliverables. And in the setup stage, we're gonna have all the setup of the manufacturing line, setting up stations, setting up the manufacturing cells. We're gonna provide the training to engineers, and we're gonna have these stations and the manufacturing equipment calibrated to make sure they work within the specs that are mentioned. And in the development stage, we have to develop the weekly models, and we need to provide the target numbers that the supplier need to reach every week. For that, we need to have a solid supply chain model, and we need to, as a part of development, we need to develop some training models. How are we going to train the engineers? How are we going to train the operators over there? So we need to have a model for that based on the learnings from the previous projects. And then finally, we need to develop a qualification plan for the first build that the supplier is going to make. And then, let's go to the components and the timelines that we have. So we have, for the planning module, we have the deadline of March 15th, and then we have another 15 days for material requirement and ordering all the equipment. And then after that, we have roughly around 2.5 months for setting up the manufacturing lines before we receive all the equipment and all that stuff. And then we have a month to train the engineers over there, train the operators over there. And then we have like another month for, we have a separate one more month for training just the operators who are going to be physically doing the work. And then we have like another month to receive the first batch that they manufacture, inspect them, make sure it's qualified based on our qualification plan. And the final goal that we have is the supplier to be starting the production in full scale by August 15th, 2019, right? Let's go to the project risks, and as I discussed earlier, we have a couple of risks: business level and the project level risks. So business level is, maybe if the terms wouldn't work well with our executives of both the companies, we could stop the project in the middle of the project. The project would be stopped in between. And we have, so this whole project is based on the forecast and how the demand is going to be in the future, which is by end of next year. So we're going to, if the predictions go bad, it could halt the project in between. And the project risk that we have is like delays that are caused by the procurement of the any of the material, any of the equipment and all that. So we and station setups. So as we know, setting up the manufacturing line, sometimes there are some unexpected issues that might pop up in the last minute, and that would lead to delays. And if the first build is not good, if it doesn't meet the qualification or the approval plan. It could be any of the reasons. So we're gonna make risks. Risk management plans for all of these risks. We want to come up with all the risk management plan and make sure we have as less risk as possible. And even though if any of these happen, we need to have a risk management plan for them, right? Next steps. What are the next steps after the meeting that we have? So we have a project planning meeting that's going to be in the next 3 to 4 days. We're gonna talk about all the planning that we need to do, and next meeting is going to be the requirements analysis, all the requirements that for the project. And finally, we're going to draft the project before going on to the meetings with the supplier. So we're going to have common meetings with the supplier. So before we meet the supplier, have the common meetings, we're going to have the project draft plan to make sure everything is set and we don't miss anything, right? So these are all the steps that we're going to follow and talk about. As I mentioned, this is just a kickoff meeting. We're going to involve all the team members. I want to give a heads up. This is like kind of introduction, knowing the high levels of the project and all that stuff, right? Finally, if you guys have any questions, I'm more than welcome to answer all of them. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Alright, I hope we have answered all the questions, and that's it for this project kickoff meeting. I hope to see you guys soon in the next meeting, and that's it. Thank you. Thanks for attending the meeting.